Hare Krishna. So, welcome back, all the devotees. So happy to see you after a long time. We had a good gap of a week. Last week we had Shloka test, and since it was the first test, there were some confusions. And but good news is everyone passed, so that is a good news. Those who appeared, and those who could not give, they can give with Unit 2 next time. So tomorrow also we will not be able to have the class because of Gaur Purnima, and day after tomorrow Jagannath Mishra festival. So today we will try to complete as much as possible. So anyone remember till where we have completed? We are reading Bhagavad Gita for sure. Which chapter we completed?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanvat Pranam. We completed till 3.2.
Okay, yeah. So second chapter we completed, and we had an introduction to third chapter. So this second chapter is second longest chapter in Bhagavad Gita. 18th chapter is the longest one, and second chapter is second longest. So other chapters are not that big. So let's see if we can complete third chapter today, or else we'll continue after this week. So this chapter is in Sanskrit, it is named as Karma Yoga. Prabhupada gave it the name Action in Krishna Consciousness. So we have discussed this part, that how Arjuna was completely confused, because in previous chapter, Krishna gave Arjuna a suggestion that it is very difficult to get out of the clutches of karmic reactions. So, and also we have discussed how unsystematic in terms that there are a lot of loads of philosophy that Krishna gave to Arjuna in second chapter. The whole lot of things. The Sankhya Yoga, Karma Kanda, Buddhi Yoga, Karma Yoga, and so on. And as a result, Arjuna became confused. Now what to do? Krishna also described Nishkam Karma Yoga. But what Arjuna thought is, Nishkam Karma Yoga means giving up karma. And most of people generally have this idea in spiritual life. They think that generally when one takes to spiritual life, that means they will give up their duties. That is a general understanding. So Arjuna here is enacting like a conditioned soul. And his confusion is befitting to anyone who thinks about spiritual life. They think that no, spiritual people, they are parasites on the society, they don't do anything, they will not be responsible, they will be hard-hearted. Like one person went to a sadhu, one guru, and he went to his guru and told that, I want to join sannyas ashram. He said, why you want to join sannyas ashram? He said that my wife died and I didn't cry a single tear. So therefore, you see, I'm so strong, I can join sannyas ashram. Then the guru told, you are not qualified. If you don't have emotion for your wife with whom you have stayed for decades, what emotion you will have for other sannyasis? What emotion you will have for Krishna? You can't have emotions. So general idea of spiritual life is that we'll give up everything. What is the need to be entangled in so many things? Arjuna was also having similar kind of understanding. So Krishna want to systematically teach Arjuna that no, Nishkam Karma Yoga means doing activity for Krishna. This is Nishkam Karma Yoga. Doing activity for Krishna. So first two verses we have seen last time, that how Arjuna was confused. Either one should take to renunciation or action, because action will lead to reaction. And if we take renunciation, then we will not be entangled into action. But Krishna told in previous chapter also that if you don't do your duty, that is also sin. We were discussing this example of security guard. The security guard become renunciate and allows everyone to enter into the temple or enter into the house. That is not renunciation. So renunciation is a problem, action is a problem. So what to do? Nishkam Karma Yoga. So in this chapter, Krishna will talk about Nishkam Karma Yoga. That means Nishkam. Nishkam means without personal desire, without personal motive. When we do things for Krishna, that is Nishkam Karma Yoga. So in first few verses, Krishna will establish how Nishkam Karma Yoga is better than Gyan Yoga. Then the third section, Krishna will tell how there is difference between Karma Yoga and Karma Kanda. Many people don't know this difference. When you ask them what is the essence of Bhagavad Gita, what they will tell? Generally, what they tell? What is the essence of Bhagavad Gita? Radha Vallabha Mataji, what they tell? Outside people?
कर्म की इच्छा हरे कृष्ण.
Yeah.
So generally they tell that karma ki ichha you should not you should not repent on something and जैसे कर्म करोगे वैसे ही फल होगा एग्जाम वैसे ही फल होंगे आपके.
This is even better than what they say.
So, and the second part which generally they say is that they say that तू क्या लेके आया था and क्या लेके जाएगा, जो भी पाया वो यहीं पाया है.
You are too Krishna conscious to tell their view. Yes, Radha Vallabha Mataji, you are speaking something?
Prabhuji, I heard many people say कि मन चंगा तो कटौती में गंगा, kind of thing also कि कर्म कांड में ज्यादा believe करते हैं.
Yes, when you ask them about Bhagavad Gita, they will only tell karmanye vadhikaraste, only this.
Yes.
They will tell that our work is worship. This they will tell. Work is not worship. Krishna will clarify this now. That there is difference between just a simple work and karma yoga. Simple work, somebody like thieves, Prabhupada gives this example. 4 thieves, they did one robbery, they come back and honestly distribute the boot. This is not honesty. They already stolen somebody's property. So no matter how much perfect person does his occupational duty, is still binding. So that is karma kanda, and what is karma yoga we'll see in this chapter. And then Krishna tells, even if you don't want to do anything, even if you don't want to get entangled in anything, still you should do your duty to set a right example. That is another point Krishna puts, that you are an influential person. People are looking up to you. So if you don't do your duty, then what people will learn? They'll become lazy. The society will become disturbed. So still to set a good example, you have to do. And then in last section, Krishna tells, one problem in doing karma yoga is lust. Lust means basically personal desires. Desires to enjoy the material nature is called lust. Atmendriya priti vancha tare balikam, Krishnendriya priti vancha dhare prem nam. When we want to serve Krishna, that is prem. When we want to serve ourselves, when we want to serve our senses, that is called kam, that is called lust. So we will see all this in this chapter. You can take screenshot of the division of the verses. And Krishna is basically taking Arjuna systematically to work with intelligence for Krishna, on behalf of Krishna. So we already saw the first 2 verses. We'll go to 3rd to 9 verses where Krishna is talking about Nishkam Karma. Varat Krishna Prabhu, you want to say something? You can unmute.
What is this NKY?
Nishkam Karma Yoga.
Okay, all right. Nishkam Karma Yoga.
This is our lazy people, we want to write everything in shortcut.
Okay.
Nishkam Karma Yoga, NKY.
Okay.
So Krishna is now telling Arjun about Nishkam Karma Yoga. So what he will tell in this section is that liberation or bondage is not determined by one's activities, but by one's consciousness. This is a very important thing. It's not about the activity, it's about the consciousness. A pujari may be on the altar, but if his consciousness is polluted, then that is not pure Krishna consciousness, that is not devotional service. Whereas somebody who is breaking stones in a mine, but his heart is with Krishna, that becomes devotional service. So liberation or bondage is not about activities at all, as general people say, that no, spiritual life means you have to leave everything. No, it's about consciousness. So this renunciation basically means we have to give up our attachment to the results of the action, not the action itself. Prabhupada used to give a simple example that if somebody gets a cataract in the eye, he will not just pluck out the eye. He will get rid of the cataract, not the eye itself. In the same way, renunciation means we give up the results of the action. We don't become attached to the results of the action, but not that we give up action itself. So that's how Krishna is inspiring Arjun, that Arjun, there are two types of practitioners. One type of practitioner is Jnana Yogi. They are also called as Sankhya Yogi. We have already discussed about, very brief about Sankhya Yoga in last chapter, that how Sankhya Yoga means counting. The literal meaning of Sankhya, Hindi mein hum log bolte hain Sankhya. Sankhya means counting. So Sankhya philosophy means we count, okay, there are 5 gross elements. There are 5 working senses. There are 5 knowledge acquiring senses. There are 5 subject of sense gratification. So there becomes 20. Then there is mind. Then there is intelligence. Then there is ego. Then there is whole aggregate of material energy. But is there anything beyond it? Yes. Soul is beyond matter. Soul makes the matter functional. But there are so many souls. We all are souls. So who is controlling us? So there is super soul. Super soul is controlling all the souls. So like that, systematically, Jnana Yogi goes to the level of understanding of soul and super soul. But what is Karma Yoga? Karma Yoga means devotee or a spiritual person who understands that yes, I am soul, there is Supreme Personality of Godhead, and my duty is to serve him. So what he does, instead of leaving the activities, he starts to engage in the service of the Supreme Personality of God. Suppose he was eating before, he's eating now also. But what he changed? That before eating, he offers food to Krishna. Now that became Karma Yoga, that became Buddhi Yoga, that became Krishna consciousness. Before also he was earning money, now also he is earning money. But now he takes care of his family like devotee family. He takes care of the temple, he donates to the temple. So that way his activities are now connected to Krishna, that is Karma Yoga. Yes, Bharat Krishna Prabhu. Please unmute.
Those Jnana Yogi,
Yes.
are they really practitioners?
Yeah,
Because
the practitioners, because they go into studies, they go into renunciation, they go into austerities. So therefore, that is their practice. It's not just about thinking. It's about their renunciation aspect also. And thinking itself is a process for that sake. Now, Krishna will tell that in this chapter only, that nobody can stay without working, even for a second. So even Jnana Yogis, their thinking, their speculation is also a process. So therefore, they are also called practitioners, Jnana Yoga practitioners.
okay.
Right. But the risk is, if somebody is not at level of pure renunciation, then what happens? Premature renunciation will lead to sinful action. How? That person will externally leave the responsibilities, but he will not reach to the spiritual level also. Then what will happen? In between, he is stuck. Then we will see so many so-called sadhus. They will smoke ganja, they will smoke bidi, they drink liquor also. They do all kind of nonsense. Because they are not really renunciates. The premature renunciation. Just like Arjun is thinking. So can somebody read 3.3? Okay. Devadev Prabhu, please read 3.3 translation.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, please accept my obeisances. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O sinless Arjun, I have already explained that there are two classes of men who try to realize the self. Some are inclined to understand it by empirical, philosophical speculation, and others by devotional service.
So two processes Krishna is telling. One is Jnana Yoga, that is philosophical speculation. And another is Karma Yoga or Buddhi Yoga, devotional service. Yes, Namrasita Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Prabhu, does Ashtanga Yoga comes under Sankhya Yoga only? Or it's a different branch?
It's a subtopic of Gyan Marg only. We can tell that. Because see, when person goes into Sankhya Yoga, is the meditation part also involved. Then Ashtanga Yoga also starts with meditation, Yam, Niyam, Pranayam, Pratyahara. So they are like similar processes.
Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Saurabh Prabhu.
Prabhuji, I have one question. So if, for example, if a person is giving, suppose if a child is giving exams, now his objective is, and he doesn't get clear, suppose in one attempt, he doesn't get clear IIT, right? And second attempt, again, he will give the exams. So the understanding is that this is his duty to, do that karma yoga. But isn't that he is attached to the results? Then only, because if we are doing some work, if we are attached to the results, then only we will try once and again when
Yes.
if we are failing.
Devotee is attached to the results, but not for himself, for Krishna. Arjun is fighting for winning. It's not that Arjun is fighting, okay, let me fight. If I lose, what's the problem? No. Arjun is fighting for winning, but for Krishna. That is difference. Srila Prabhupada displayed that. Like there was one particular yogi, he came and devotees told Srila Prabhupada, he's such a renunciate, he doesn't touch money. Prabhupada said, okay, bring a lot of money, keep in front of me. I will embrace it. You take a photograph and put in newspaper. I don't care. Because I am taking all this money for Krishna. So yes, devotee is also attached to the results, but not for himself, for Krishna. Whereas general karma kandi, his attachment is to the results for his own sense enjoyment. That's what we discussed in the beginning. What is the difference between prema and kama, lust and love? When we want to serve Krishna, that is love. When we want to serve our senses, that is kama. So taking the example of a student, if he is studying hard for Krishna's service, if he is studying hard that I will crack IIT JEE and become devotee and preach to a lot of IIT students, nice. But he is studying for himself, then it becomes a problem.
Okay, Prabhu. So, Prabhu, but normally, even the peoples cannot understand their emotions and feelings many times, right? So they may be saying something on the face, but internally, they are working for themselves, or even if they are working for Krishna, but they wanted to have some kind of inclination to have that fruit. For example, if they are earning, they do not donate all its salary to the person or to the Krishna. They are putting it for themselves also. So in that way, means like how should we understand? Because for example, a person is raising his salary, is increasing his salary, or he wants to earn more. Then in these day-to-day activities, how can we say that that person is earning for Krishna rather than himself, because he's taking the whole salary himself?
It's difficult to say externally, as you said, that it's difficult for them themselves to understand their feeling, what to speak about others. Therefore, they fall into category of Mishrit Bhakta, mixed devotees. And it's not that somebody is earning, so he has to donate all the money. But as we discussed in the beginning of class, what is the consciousness? Like Bhaktivinoda Thakur's consciousness was that my home is Krishna's home. All members of my family are Krishna's devotees. So taking care of them in that consciousness is devotional service. But if we are not in that consciousness, then we are mixed devotees. So when we discuss about these principles, they are like absolute principles. That is our goal. We may not be at that level immediately, but that is our goal. So in beginning, person may be mixed. Okay, sometime he may give to Krishna, sometime he may, do his sense gratification. But that doesn't mean that he will not become pure. Eventually, he'll become pure.
Okay. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Anupama Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, what is the difference between Lord Krishna's Sankhya philosophy and Lord Kapila Sankhya philosophy? Is it there any difference or is the same? Can you explain or?
Same. Krishna just gave a very short idea about Sankhya. He didn't go into detail. Like further in 7th chapter, he will again touch Sankhya for a very little part, like maybe 2 verses. Just talked about Sankhya. But Kapil Dev spoke in detail in 3rd canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. So it's the same subject matter, but Krishna just touched it little bit, whereas Lord Kapila gave in much detail.
And in which 24 elements, like it's in Kapila Sankhya philosophy.
Yes, it's in Kapila
Okay.
Sankhya. 24 elements.
Okay.
Actually,
Okay.
24 elements are material elements. Then 25th
Okay.
is soul, 26th is super soul, like that.
Hare Krishna,
Okay.
Prabhu.
Okay.
Yes, Namrasita Mataji.
Yeah, related to this only, I wanted to ask earlier also. Some imposter Kapila is also mentioned in that verse.
Yes.
So, what was that philosophy?
After Kapil Dev gave knowledge to Devahuti, there was one more imitation Kapila. Just like in our India, there is one famous brand of bottled water, Bisleri. If you go to purchase Bisleri, you have to be very careful because the bottle will look similar, but you'll have many versions of Bisleri. There Bisleli, Bisreri. There's so many versions. You have to be very, very careful which one is original. So in the same way, after the original Kapila gave Sankhya philosophy, there were many people who started to pose themselves as Kapila. And their philosophy was not absolute. Like they stop on the 24th element, but they never go to soul and super soul and then surrender onto Krishna, which Kapil Dev spoke in detail to his mother, Devahuti. So that in fact, Kapil Dev shares the method to meditate on the deity, how to look to the lotus feet, and so much intricacies, so many details. But this other Kapila philosophers, those who believe in Sankhya, they don't come to that level only. So that is called imposter Kapila. There are so many other people who just stop at 24 elements, don't go beyond that. Yeah.
Prabhu, can we say Lord Buddha also?
Lord Buddha's philosophy is different. Kapila's philosophy is different. Lord Buddha's philosophy is not based on Vedic scriptures, whereas Lord Kapila's philosophy is based on Vedic scriptures. Therefore, Buddhist philosophy is called atheistic philosophy. Vedana maniho bodho hoilo nastik. I think the class becoming too philosophical, huh? But that's the aim of Bhakti Sastri. It is like when we do a general program, is just to attract newcomers. But when we are studying philosophy, we have to really understand the depth of the depth of it. Buddhist philosophy is atheistic because it's not based on Vedic scriptures. So that is just a detour which Lord arranged to stop animal killing. And the purpose was just for a short period of time. Then again Shankaracharya came and he driven out Buddhist philosophy from India. And he again established the Vedas. Then Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, others came and they again established the devotional service. So anyway, that is a detailed topic. But coming back to our Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga, the simple difference is Jnana Yogis means they want to They want to renunciate the world. But Karma Yogi means they want to engage the world. One side is to demonize the world. One side is to romanticize the world. So devotees want to utilize everything in Krishna's service. Like if you see a beautiful object, one way of looking at it is, oh, this is Maya. I'll get attracted to it. Let me just close my eyes. This is Jnana Yoga. But if you see a beautiful flower, if you see a beautiful thing, you think that no, this is such a beautiful thing. This should be engaged in Krishna's service. That is Karma Yoga. That is Buddhi Yoga. A simple difference. But if somebody is prematurely trying to renunciate, what happens? Krishna tells in 4th verse. Usha Mataji, would you like to read 3.4? Please unmute. There is some.
Hare
Yeah,
Krishna Prabhu. Sorry, I was getting power cut problem here.
no problem.
Yes, not by merely abstaining from work can one achieve freedom from reaction. No, by renunciation alone can one attain perfection.
So it's not that just by abstaining from work, one will get liberation. No. One has to get rid of the attachment. That is called purification. Sannyas is not just about giving up the duties. Sannyas means getting rid of all attachments. Like sometimes what happens, if somebody is not at that level of true renunciation, and he gives up the work, he gives up the duty, then what happens? He falls into sinful activity. We can understand with simple example, like children sometimes don't want to go to school. They don't want to go to school. Then what they will tell? I have stomach ache, I have headache, these kind of things. And then if you believe on them, and then okay, you don't go, then what will he do? As soon as the school bus will leave, then he start jumping. Then he start doing all naughty activities. This is living entity. First, on the name of renunciation, he will give up his duties. But if he is not purified, then what he'll do? He'll do sinful activities. Therefore, purification is compulsory for renunciation. If somebody is not purified, he is not eligible for renunciation. Renunciation without purity of mind will not help. But good news is, bhakti is not dependent on purification. Bhakti is a purificatory process itself. Even if somebody is not pure, if he chants, if he reads, if he serves, if he takes prasadam, he gets purified. Cheto darpana marjanam. And not that one has to become completely purified, even little. Swalpam apiyasya dharmasya trayato mahato bhayat. In last chapter we have read this. Little endeavor on this path, one will be saved from greatest danger. Therefore, the Krishna is directly telling that you can't be without an activity. You can't remain without doing anything. Nahi kasya shana papi jatu tishtati akarmakrit. Akarmakrit. Karma means doing activity. Akarma means not doing anything. So without doing anything, you can't stay even for a moment. Like one time, one couple used to live in a small village, and they had a small field. So the husband would go and hang around with his friends, but the wife was very hardworking. She would work in the field, and she would bring fresh vegetables. She would bring the wheat and things, and would grind the flour herself, and would make the dough, would cook the vegetables, and then when the food is ready, at that time husband would come, and then she would serve the husband, and she would give water and everything. And she was planning also. Such maybe she the wife from Satya Yoga or Treta Yoga, not Kali Yoga for sure. She would work so hard for husband. And as husband was eating, he was sweating. So this wife became very angry. She said that I went to the field, I collected the vegetables, I cooked, I worked so hard, I served you, and I am fanning, and still you are sweating. What did you do? He said, I am chewing. This is also a work. So nobody can stay without work. Everybody has to do some work. Even for a moment, person cannot stay without work. But if somebody wants to show off that no, I am not entangled out, in any activity, but what happens inside his mind may be running in the sense gratification. Externally, somebody may say that, oh, I don't eat, I don't wander around, but his mind is wandering around. His mind is in the sense objects, and that person is called mithyachari. You should remember this word, mithyachari. Mithyachari means pretender. Krishna talks about in 6th verse. Kripalu Keshavi Mataji, would you like to read? Read from Bhagavad Gita 3.6.
Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
One who restrains the senses of action, but whose mind dwells on sense objects, certainly deludes himself.
Okay, so there's some network problem.
A pretender.
So one who externally show off that he is a renunciate, but internally his mind is in the sense objects. That person is a mithyachari, is a pretender. Now a pretender, what pretender does? Pretender wants to cheat somebody. Interesting thing is, whom this pretender is cheating? Whom he is cheating? Himself. This is an interesting thing. He is thinking he has become a big renunciate. He is thinking he is advancing in his spiritual life. But as his mind and senses is just hovering around the sense objects, actually he is cheating himself. He is mithyachari sa uchyate. He is pretender. So Krishna never supports so-called renunciation. Krishna wants that devotees take their responsibilities seriously and they work as per their level of advancement. Let's read text 7. Read. Okay. Abhimanyu Sutta Prabhu, please read translation of verse 7 from Bhagavad
Hare
Gita.
Krishna, Prabhu. On the other hand, if a sincere person tries to control the active senses by his mind and begins karma yoga in Krishna consciousness without attachment, he is by far superior.
So what Krishna is telling, from such kind of pretender who is externally making a show off of being a renunciate, but internally his mind and senses are hovering around sense gratification, better than that person is who? One who is active. He is very active in dealing with the activities in this material world. He's dealing with the senses. He's dealing with the activities. He's doing with the responsibilities, but without attachment. That person is far superior. So this is the answer to this is the answer to Arjuna's question. You remember what Arjuna asked? That what is better? Renunciation of work or being entangled in the work? So Krishna is first refuting the first part. That no, Arjun, giving up work is not the solution. You should be a true renunciate. What is the true renunciate? Be detached with your results of the karma. You work for me, not for yourself. So you have to do your prescribed duty. Niyatam karma. Do your prescribed duty, and it's far better than renunciation of action. One cannot even sustain himself in this world if he does not do his own karma. He has to do his karma. And we see these things. We have seen many sadhus from our childhood, not in ISKCON, outside. They leave everything and they go to some ashram. And then what they do? Whole day they search for food. Whole day they search for some bidi. Whole day they search for some blanket or money. So this is not renunciation. Better was if they would have earned something and became Krishna conscious. Now whole day, Prabhupada criticized this. Prabhupada, in one of his bhajans, Prabhupada wrote that, what kind of renunciation is this? Instead of thinking about Krishna, whole day you are thinking about where I will get 2 chapatis. This is not renunciation. So even to maintain yourself will become difficult if you'll do dry renunciation. Then Arjun will ask, okay, I understood that renunciation, if it is dry, if it is not bona fide, it's not good. So should I entangle myself in the reactions of the karma? Do you want me to suffer for my karma? What is the answer? Krishna tells, 9th verse. Very important verse. Krishna directly tells about devotional service. Diya Mataji, would you like to read? Translation for 9th verse.
Work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed, otherwise work poses bondage in this material world. Therefore, O son of Kunti, perform your prescribed duties for his satisfaction, and in that way you will always remain free from bondage.
Lokoyam karma bandhana. Bandhan means bondage. Karma bandhan means bondage of the karma. So bondage of karma will be there until yagyarthat karmano anattira. Until those karma are done as a yagya. What is yagya? Yagya means any activity, any sacrifice done for the pleasure of Lord Vishnu. Like in olden days, they used to do fire sacrifice. And the purpose of fire sacrifice was just to please Lord Vishnu. Samsiddhim haritoshanam. So that way, the purpose is that we do our activities. But when we do for the pleasure of the Lord, then mukta sangha samachara. Then person becomes mukta, free from bondage. It's very simple. Actually, nobody can argue on these verses of Bhagavad Gita. People have made so many definitions of dharma, their renunciation, but if they just read these verses, even they don't need commentary. It's so simple to understand that if you work for Lord Vishnu, if you work as a yagya, then there is mukta sangha samachara, then there is no bondage. Let's read from Srila Prabhupada's quotation. Venudhari Prabhu, would you like to read?
Diksha Prabhu.
Yes.
Perfection is sure. So the yogis and other methods, they are trying to control the senses by force. I shall go to the Himalayas. I shall not see any more beautiful woman. I shall close my eyes. These are forceful. You cannot control your senses. There are many instances. You don't require to go to Himalaya. You just remain in Los Angeles city and engage your eyes to see Krishna. You are more than a person who has gone to Himalayas.
So there are so many yogis in the past. They were staying in Himalayas, doing great austerities. Then what happens? Then Indra will send one apsara. Cham, 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 gone. Just the sound of ankle bells, all thousands of years of tapasya, gone. So Prabhupada is saying, no, you don't need to go to Himalayas. You stay in Los Angeles. You stay in any city. And you're far better than person going to Himalayas. When Prabhupada is continuing. Anisha Mataji, would you like to read?
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. You will forget all other things. This is our process. You don't require to change your position. You engage your ears for hearing Bhagavad Gita as it is. You will forget all nonsense. You engage your eyes to see the beauty of the deity, Krishna. You engage your tongue for tasting Krishna Prasadam. You engage your legs to come to this temple. You engage your hands to work for Krishna. You engage your nose to smell the flower offered to Krishna.
So when we engage our senses in Krishna, then automatically we don't fall for sense gratification. Just like if you go to a hotel and all rooms are full, you can't check in. In the same way, our all senses are already full with Krishna. Then Maya cannot check in. We have to make ourselves filled with Krishna consciousness. Therefore, devotees should have habit of reading. They should have habit of hearing. Generally, we chant our rounds, but we don't read and hear. There's a major problem. And because of that, Maya gets a opportunity to creep in. So Prabhupada's first writing that engage your ears in hearing Bhagavad Gita as it is. Then we'll forget all nonsense. And what happens is, if we don't read and hear for a long time, then our materialistic conditioning makes an inertia. You understand inertia? In physics, there is a term that inertia means if somebody is in motion, it's very difficult to stop the motion. If somebody is stopped, is stagnant, it's very difficult to make him moving. So to change a condition of person or living any entity, you have to use force. So when long days we have not done hearing, we have not done reading, then we are in state of inertia. Then what we have to do? We have to force ourselves. Then only we will come to the normal state. We have to force our senses to accept Krishna things. And then what will happen? Jagadambika Mataji, would you like to read further?
Yes, Prabhu. Then where are your senses go? He is captivated all round. The perfection is sure. You don't require to control your senses forcibly. Don't see, don't do it, don't do it. No, you have to change the engagement.
So it's not that we have to stop the activities of the senses. We have to just change the objective of the senses. We have to just change the method to engage the senses. Because if there is impure heart, the dry renunciation will not work. And therefore, Krishna is recommending Nishkam Karma Yoga rather than giving up the activities altogether. Now, if somebody cannot give up the desire of enjoying the fruits of the action, as Saurabh Prabhu was also telling, that how can I just give up? Like I made Italian dinner. I made pizza, I made spaghetti, I made lasagna, I made salad, I made soup, everything. And you are telling me that just offer to Krishna and then you may take and you may not take. It's not that easy. In fact, I put all spices because the way I want. I never thought how much Krishna wants, but I thought how I will like it. So it's not easy to give up that desire. So then what? Krishna describes in next 7 verses. Then what should be done? If you want to enjoy as well as progress spiritually, then also you have to learn to do sacrifice. Lord Krishna is designed in such a way. What he did, he encouraged to follow the process in the scriptures. And if we follow the process in the scriptures, we get piety. And when we get piety, that is called punya. In Hindi, we say punya. When you get punya, we enjoy. So the happiness comes by following yajna. Happiness comes by following scriptures. So even if somebody wants to enjoy in this world, okay, he doesn't want to give up the results of the actions, then also he should follow the scriptures. Because if he doesn't follow the scriptures, what will happen? He will commit sinful activities. When he will commit sinful activities, then he will have to suffer in the future. So even if you want to enjoy in the material world, then also you should follow the scriptures. Please read verse 10, Nishtha Mataji, verse 10.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. In the beginning of creation, the Lord of all in the beginning of creation, the Lord of all creatures sent forth generations of men and demigods, along with sacrifices for Vishnu, and blessed them by saying, "Be thou happy by this yagna," this sacrifice, because its performance will bestow upon you all desirable things.
So just like sometimes what happens in our Ujjain, we have Nagar Sankirtan. And our spiritual master wanted that we do Nagar Sankirtan every day. But somehow it stops every time. because you have to get ready, you have to go in the street, and you have to, be there, and you have to dance also. It's tiring. So what our temple president started doing, he said, whoever will come to Nagar Sankirtan will get dhokla, cake, and juice after the Nagar Sankirtan. Then the participation increased. It's nothing to do with Sankirtan. Dhokla has nothing to do with the Sankirtan. Dhokla is not Nagar Sankirtan. But why it's included in Nagar Sankirtan? Because people are attached to Dhokla, not Nagar Sankirtan. In the same way, what Krishna did, Krishna associated material happiness with yajna so that people follow the process of scriptures. Scriptures have nothing to do with material world. Scriptures want us to get purified and go back to Godhead. But why Krishna has put all these so-called karma kanda in scriptures? So that in the greed of dhokla, we go to Nagar Sankirtan. In the greed of happiness, we follow scriptures. And therefore, Krishna tells that demigods, you will also be happy. Because if people will perform yajna, you will get oblations and you will be happy. And when demigods will be happy, they will supply all the necessities to human beings, so human beings will be happy. So they both will be happy if they follow scriptures. Therefore, if you see, when demons come, first thing they stop is yajnas. Why they stop yajnas? Because when yajnas stop, then demigods, they don't get their supply. When demigods don't get their supply, they become weak. When they become weak, demons go and defeat them. Then they get charge of the particular area. So therefore, these yajnas are very important for men as well as demigods. Now, what is yajna for Kali Yuga? Every time wherever yajna will come, Prabhupada will catch in purport. What is yajna for Kali Yuga? Sankirtan yajna. Any purport you take in Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, anywhere, Prabhupada will not leave this point. Wherever yajna will come, Prabhupada says, that yajna is not possible. Our yajna is Sankirtan yajna introduced by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So if we do yajna, all demigods will become pleased. If we do Sankirtan, the person who is doing Sankirtan will never have any scarcity of resources. Because Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. Sankirtan is that yajna who established victory. So now, how Krishna is intelligently put this sense gratification in material world so that people follow scriptures. This is the purpose of karma kanda in the scriptures. Otherwise, somebody may ask that why Krishna put this karma kanda in scriptures? That is the answer. And if we don't do this yajnas, then we are like thief. Why we are thief? Like one time, one person came to Srila Prabhupada and he was challenging that, I have made this skyscraper building. Where is God? You are telling that God is doing everything, God is creating. I have created this building. So Prabhupada said that the sand, the cement, the iron, where did you bring it from? Your father's planet? Prabhupada asked directly, did you bring from father's planet? You brought from Krishna's planet. So all the ingredients, everything is provided by Krishna. Now all eatables, grains, fruits, vegetables, milk, sugar, etc., we are getting from Krishna. Heat, light, water, air, all necessities of life, we are getting from Krishna. So everything we are getting from Krishna. If we don't follow the process of the scriptures, especially yajnas, then we are actually snatching it away without being grateful to Krishna. And that is the job of a thief. So doing yajnas means giving tax to God. In simple words, doing sacrifices means giving tax to God. And that is done through demigods. So demigods also become satisfied. Supreme Personality also gets satisfied. And if yajnas are not done, then what happens? The demigods starve. And when demigods starve, they become weak. They can't give proper supplies to the human beings. They also suffer. And that is happening in today's world. See, since nobody is doing yajna, the nature is not able to provide sufficiently for the human society. And we are seeing that there are insufficient or irregular rains. There are lands, but still there is shortage of food. The seasons are changing. The glaciers are melting. Why all this is happening? The diseases are increasing because there is no yajna. Demigods are becoming weak. When demigods become weak, they can't supply to humans as well. Namrasita Mataji.
Prabhu, demigods are big personalities and they are living in very higher planets. So are they dependent upon us of their weakness and
Yes.
how?
Yes, Krishna arranged in that way. It's a symbiotic relationship. When human beings do yajna, demigods get their power. And when demigods become powerful, they supply to human beings. And that's how human beings live in this world. They're not very high. When we study Srimad Bhagavatam, actually on the periphery of Bhumandala, there is one mountain. And on that mountain only, there's chariots of demigods. They drive like sun, moon, and different planets. So they're not very high planets. Bhuvarloka is very close to Earth. When I say very close, it's not that close also, but it's not very high like other higher planets like Tapaloka, Janaloka, Maharloka, and Brahmaloka, and other lokas. So they are very much dependent on human beings and sacrifices.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, Keshav Priya Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. There's a verse in the Gita, I'm not very certain what number, but it says like, abandon all other varieties of religion and just surrender to me. I shall deliver you from the sinful reactions. Do not fear. Yeah. And then, I was under the impression that that meant that you must just surrender to Krishna, right, and, not perform like, for example, some of the rituals that the demigods, or rather that the priest expect from you when there's demigods. So can you just explain that to me more clearly?
So this what you are saying is the essence of Bhagavad Gita. This is the final instruction in 18th chapter. Krishna will tell. But now Krishna is telling Karma Kanda. He will go systematically above and above and above. He will take Arjun from very low level. We have to remember that now Krishna is just settling on karma for Arjun. That now discussion is about duty and not doing duty. But slowly, Krishna will raise his consciousness to the level of Sarvadharman Paritajya. That you give up everything and just do what I am telling you. Forget about karma yoga. Forget about everything. Now Krishna is giving him the side dharmas. He is telling that, see, you will do your duty nicely. Yes. The demigods will become pleased. Yes. They'll become happy with you. Yes. Then they will give you sense gratification. Yes. But this is not the purpose of Gita. This is just like, you are convincing a child to go to school because in school, teacher may give him a dairy milk. But that is not the purpose of going to the school. Going to the school to study. So Krishna is just systematically bringing Arjun to upper and upper levels. So we have just started where Krishna is telling him that, dear Arjun, if you do your duty, if you do yajna, if you do the scriptural instructions, then all demigods will become happy. You will become happy. And if you don't do that, then you are a thief. Because you are taking all necessities of life from the nature, from demigods, from me, and you are not doing your part. So Krishna is just telling on very basic level now. But that instruction which you are telling is like the end part of Gita. So we'll come to that much later. Like that. So in essence, if we think about this whole discussion, what is happening is, if person does not follow scriptures, then even in this life he will suffer, because he will not be able to be happy. Like if demigods are not happy, he will not be happy. And at the end of life, Yamaraj will come, he'll punish him. So he will not be happy in this life as well as next life. Because if somebody is not offering things in yajna, then actually he is increasing his more and more sin. And this very famous verse, which we use in our preaching also. You can mark this verse. Yagya Shishtashana Shantu Muchyante Sarvakil Vishay Bunjate Te Agham Papa Ye Pachanti Atma Karanat. Atma Karanat. Atma means self. Karanat means for our own self, for our own enjoyment. Pachanti means eats. One who eats for himself, then Bunjate Te Agham Papam. They eat sin. They don't eat food, they eat sin. People, they prepare food for their own sense gratification, they eat only sin. And this is example given for eating, but this applies for all the senses. Like, what is food for the eyes? Food for eyes is sight. So when we see things for our sense gratification, that becomes papa, that becomes sin. What is food for ears? Sound. When we hear materialistic sound, that is sinful activity. What is food for skin? Touch. When this sense of touch is used for sense gratification, that is again sinful. But when same senses are used for Krishna, Yagya Sishtashana Shantu, when they are done for a sacrifice, that means offered to Krishna, then Muchyante Sarva Kilbishai. Muchyante means freed. Muchyante means being freed, being released. So one will be released with Sarva Kilbishai. Sarva means all. Kilbishai means all kind of sinful activities. So therefore, devotee always offers his senses to Krishna. Always offers his senses to Krishna. Like not only eating, but all the senses. Because when you love somebody, you naturally think about him before. Like suppose a person loves somebody. Can he eat alone and leave him hungry? He will never do that. So that is sign of a love. So devotee doesn't offer food to Krishna just to get rid of the sins. No, it's one step higher. It's love. It's offering of love. So they've performed devotional service out of love, whether it will be Shravan, Kirtan, anything. Now Krishna is giving a whole logic why we should offer all sacrifices to the Supreme Lord. He is giving whole logic in next 2 verses. Yes, Namra Sita Mataji.
Prabhu, I have 2 questions. Can I ask?
Yeah.
Prabhu, first is related to that demigods portion only, as you just said. So that means with the gradual advancement of Kali Yuga, people will be irreligious. So they won't be performing any sacrifices. Does that mean that the demigod would die?
Demigods will not die, but they will become weak. And as a result, what will happen? They will stop giving supplies to Bhumandal. And that is the prediction of Srimad Bhagavatam. In 12th canto, there is description that how earth will stop giving grains. Sky will stop giving rains. Then what will happen? People will start eating other living entities. They'll finish off all animals. Then they will catch birds and they will eat the birds. And then to protect themselves, because then what people will do? They will eat each other. Human beings will eat each other. To save themselves, people will hide in the caves. And in caves, like a husband and wife will give birth to a child, and to sustain themselves, they will eat their own child.
Oh my God.
So that is the thing. Like, if they will stop doing the sacrifices. That they are the society we are leading to.
Prabhu, one more question related to this only. I had, while reading also, I had this question in mind, that Krishna says that if you offer it to the demigods, like suppose some person is a great devotee of Lord Shiva or Lord Ganesha, so they are offering it to Lord Ganesha and they are offering it to Lord Shiva. So then also they are they get sin, even if they are offering it to.
See, if the karma kanda is done as per the scriptures, slowly person gets purified. But the problem is, which Krishna will eventually tell in Gita itself, The problem with demigod worshippers is tam niyamasthaya. They do as per their liking. They don't follow scriptures. They make their own demigod and demigoddesses. Like it's very famous one, Santoshi Mata.
Yes.
But there is nobody like Santoshi Mata because Santoshi is a male word. If it's a Mata, she has to be Santoshini. Even grammatically, it's wrong. Anyway, people create their own demigods and demigoddesses, and then they decide their own processes, and then they fall trap in karma. But if they genuinely follow scriptures, slowly they will get purified. Right. Okay.
Means like even if they have some people who have some heart connection with Lord Shiva and are very sincere towards demigods, then also they are not doing any sinful act. Means if they are doing it in the name of.
But that doesn't mean they will be free. They will do piety, and to enjoy piety, they have to still remain in the material world.
Okay.
So, but if they follow scripture sincerely, eventually they will get purified. So that is it.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, I have one question. Normally, when we offer when we offer food to God, now in that process, many times, as you also discussed earlier, that we are attached to the food. Okay, this is pizza. So we wanted to eat pizza. So we are actually, we are making something, or we are offering, and just to, and our, that there's from a subconscious mind, you want to eat it fast also. So in that perspective, it's a Mishrit Bhakti. So, but that means that most of the people are in the Mishrit Bhakti, or how's it?
Yes. Most of the people are in mixed devotional service. In fact, Kapil Dev tells in Srimad Bhagavatam, 81 types of devotional service, mixed devotional service, 81 types. So it's very difficult to reach to the pure devotional service. In Sanskrit, pure devotional service is told as Kevala Bhakti, Keval Bhakti. Like we take milk, sometimes people put kesar in milk. Sometimes they put elaichi in milk. Sometimes they put long in milk. Sometimes they put gur. Sometimes they put sugar and whatnot. But where there's only milk, that is called keval milk. So that means bhakti not mixed with any karma, any jnana, any ulterior motive. That is called kevala bhakti, shuddha bhakti. And how we get that bhakti? Every day we sing in morning. Shri Guru Charana Padma, Kevala Bhagati Sadma, Kevala Bhakti. Shuddha Bhakti comes by the mercy of spiritual master. So when we follow the instructions of spiritual master as it is, then disciple slowly reaches to the level of Shuddha Bhakti. Otherwise, this most of the people, I would say 99.999999% do only Mishrit Bhakti, mixed Bhakti. Yes, Varat Krishna Prabhu.
Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, I mean, because, we come from, you can say Karmakand, Karmakandis. And what I noticed, like when you have a Brahmin coming and doing some rituals at your place, and then they will tell you, okay, bring food, bring the bhog, and then they will offer. And then when they offer, they will always say Krishna Arpan. Right? So this is offered to Krishna. So, but again, these Brahman, they will tell you, because I've asked, my own person who used to do puja at my place. So, but he says, I like Lord Shiva. Right? So he knows that, that everything goes to Krishna, because 529 says, no, Bhaktaram Yagnat Tabasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. So here that the person seems to know about it, but at the same time, he cannot be detached from his liking to Lord Shiva, because he's looking at the gain in doing these services. I mean, how do you, I mean, I don't know, I'm a bit confused about it, but I've stopped bringing him to my place anymore.
Actually, that Smarta Brahmanas, they are called Smarta Brahmanas. In Srimad Bhagavatam, there is description about them. That how Smarta Brahmanas, they worship Lord Hari, they worship Vishnu. But when Krishna and Balaram sent the Gopakumaras, that the Lord is in the forest, he is hungry, the Smarta Brahmanas didn't pay attention to them. And the boys came back hungry. They told Krishna Balaram that we went to your devotees, they're doing big yajna for you. But we went and begged, this little fruit and food for you, and they didn't give us any attention. Then Krishna and Balaram told, okay, go to their wives. They will give you. And when this Gopa, they went to the wives of the Brahmanas. As soon as they heard Krishna and Balaram are in the forest, they just brought all bhoga, which is meant for yajna, to Krishna and Balaram. And they fed them. So imagine the husbands are doing yajna and they have to make the offering, and the offering is gone. The Krishna Balaram ate everything. Now who is successful? These yajnas are successful, or the Brahmanas, wives of the Brahmanas are successful? So in the same way, Prabhupada was telling, the point which we discussed last is, devotee makes offering, but he makes offering out of love. He doesn't make offering that, okay, I am offering this food, just like ATM machine, you put a card, you take out cash. In the same way, Krishna is like karma-free machine. You put a karma food, then it becomes karma-free. You take it out and you eat, no sin. Krishna is not karma-free machine. Devotee offers with love. That, my dear Lord, you have given me this food. It's your mercy on me. Please, you accept it first, and I will take your remnants. We think about our beloved first. Like first time when I sat in flight, I thought that maybe my parents should be with me. This is natural thinking. When you love somebody, you think about them. So now if our emotion is like that to Krishna, we naturally think about him. That no, how can I use something without offering to him? So that is one grade higher. That is the level of love. So these Brahmanas may have understanding of scriptures, but they don't have love. So still they are stuck in material world. Like that. Okay?
Thank you, Prabhu.
So now Krishna is giving one more logic to why one should engage, why one should make all offerings to the Supreme Lord. He is giving example of food, because most of us are attached to food. So he's giving example of food, but this implies to all the senses. It implies to all these objects of sense gratification. Krishna tells that annad bhavanti bhutani. We depend on food for our life. If there is no food, we will die. But how do food comes? The grains come because of the rains. Parjannat anna sambhava. If there is no rain, there will be no grains. So we depend on grains. Grain depends on rains. How rains come, we already discussed before. Rain comes when there is performance of yajna. Okay. How do we perform yajna? Yajna are performed as per the injunctions of the scriptures. Okay, who gave scriptures? The Supreme Personality of Godhead gave the scriptures. So who is the ultimate cause for our sustenance? Supreme Personality of God is the ultimate cause. He is the cause of all causes. So to whom we should offer our grains? To whom we should offer our lives? To the Supreme Lord. Krishna makes it so simple that we have to depend on him for everything. And this yajna, Prabhupada again catches this. Yajna means Sankirtan yajna. Every day we are chanting holy name. This is Sankirtan yajna. Like one time in America, one person was very adamant to do yajna, sacrifice. And he came to ISKCON temple. He said, I have heard you all are very learned in the scriptures. You do yajna at my place. So devotees tried to explain him that, look, Yagya for this age is Sankirtan. So we can go to your place with Mridanga and Kartal and we can do nice Kirtan. He said, no, 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 no. I want original Yagya. You have to make a fire, Yagya, and you do Swaha, and I have to see all that. People are attached to this. So anyway, devotees went to his place and they lit a fire and they started doing Yagya. But what happened is the fire alarm caught the sense. And there was, this automatic sprinklers. They started sprinkling water all over the place. So this person became very perplexed. What is happening? So then devotee opened this verse of Bhagavad Gita. He said, look, Krishna is telling, by Yagya, rain comes. So your Yagya is you're successful now. Because we did Yagya, a fire alarm, this all sprinklers are giving you rains. So people don't understand that the purpose of Yagya is to please the Supreme Lord. And how do we please the Supreme Lord? In Kali Yuga, especially by Sankirtan Yagya. So this is the cycle of sacrifice which Krishna is telling in this chapter, that how he is the cause of the Vedas. Vedas talk about prescribed actions. Prescribed action means doing sacrifices. Doing sacrifices will lead to rains. Rains will produce grains. Grains will give life. And if you have life, offer your life to Krishna. Offer your food to Krishna. Offer your all activities to Krishna. So this way, Krishna is explaining very wonderfully that how person should be engaged in his service. So till now, Krishna was talking about how person who is attached to the results of actions, that person should also serve Krishna. Like here we can see, everyone is attached to their lives. Who can say that I'm not attached to my life? So if you're attached to your life, you depend on grains. How grain comes? From rains. How rain comes? From sacrifice. How sacrifice are performed? Through Vedas. And what are the source of Vedas? Krishna. So serve Krishna. So that way Krishna is giving many logics. Now Krishna will go in another zone. Now Krishna will tell, okay, somebody who is completely detached, why he should also do his duty. This is for somebody who is attached. But somebody who is completely detached, why he should do his duty. A person who is self-realized, he is pure, why he should still perform his obligatory duties? To set a good example. To set a good example in society. Because if he is not setting a good example, then people will follow it. And not necessarily everyone is on that level. So then there will be problem. Like there is an example in Srimad Bhagavatam of Lord Rishabdev. I hope all of you know about this example of Lord Rishabdev. Lord Rishabdev went in the forest naked. He was Avadhuta. He left everything. He was the emperor of the whole world, but he left everything. And he became completely renunciate. As he became completely renunciate, then what happened? Then so many people started to follow him. And thousands of people are following him. So there was a king he saw. He saw that, oh, if you become naked and you walk like that, so many people follow. Then let me also walk naked. So he also started to walk naked. But nobody was following him. That is the problem. You see, if some great person is following something, then general masses tend to follow the same thing. So if imagine all great examples, they give up their duties, then what will happen of this world? Nobody will do their duties. So Krishna is inspiring Arjuna, okay, you may be detached, you may be pure, you may be completely liberated, but still do your duty for others. Because if you follow your duty, then others will follow your example. So in 17th and 18th verse, Krishna is telling how self-realized person has no duty. Okay, Rasamrit Prabhu, can you read translations for 17th and 18th? Please.
But for one who takes pleasure in the self, whose human life is one of self-realization, and who is satisfied in the self only, fully satisfied. For him, there is no duty. Sachit. A self-realized man has no purpose to fulfill in the discharge of his prescribed duties, nor has he any reason not to perform such work, nor has he any need to depend on any other living being.
So one who is self-realized, one who is completely pure, he is dependent on the Supreme Lord. He is not obliged to do any work. He is not bound with any prescribed duties, because nothing to lose, nothing to gain. He is completely detached. Even demigods don't expect any sacrifices from him. Like suppose there is a boy in a village and he's good for nothing. Anybody comes and beats him, going here and there, anybody comes and beats him. What is the situation of this person? But one day, the landlord of that village, he adopts that boy. Then can anybody beat him? Nobody can touch him. Now he is son of the landlord. In the same way, common living entity, he will be harassed by the reactions of karma. But the day he surrenders to the Supreme Lord, then no rules for him. Then no bondage for him. Even demigods don't expect any sacrifices from him. So that is self-realized soul. But still they do their duty because they want to set an example. Pratima Mataji, would you like to read translation for verse 19? Please unmute.
Hare Krishna Babuji. Therefore, without being attached to the fruits of activities, one should act as a matter of duty. For by working without attachment, one attains the supreme.
So even if somebody is very liberated and pure, then also as a matter of duty to set a good example, he should work for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord. So Arjuna was thinking, are there any examples like that? And Krishna is giving examples that yes, there are many, many kings like Janak Maharaj and others who perform their prescribed duties just to set a good example for common people to follow. Because yad yad acharati sreshtha tat tat evataro jana sa yat pramanam kurute lokas tad anuvartate. This again very important verse, you can mark it. This verse tells that how whatever action a great man performs, common men follow. So if common men will depend on the example of great men, they have to be in very responsible situation. Yes, Saurabh Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, where we can read about King Janak Maharaj?
There is not much description. We can read about him in Ramayana for sure, but not much description in Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. Yeah.
Okay.
But it is told that he was such a detached person. Many sages would come to his court like Ashtavakra, and they would chant the glories of Lord, and he would be busy in all his royal affairs, but still his consciousness was very pure. One time one sage tested him. They put a hot burning charcoal under his feet. They just wanted to test how bodily conscious he is. And he kept on sitting on that. I mean, his foot was in that burning coal, and still he was hearing Katha from Ashtavakra. His consciousness was so pure that even the burning hot charcoal would not affect him, would not give him any pain. So many examples like that. These details can be found in Ramayana and other scriptures, but very few details in Gita and Bhagavad, like that. Okay. Sure. So then Arjuna is telling, what about you, my dear friend, Krishna? Are you also following? I have heard that you dance with gopis and you do all kind of things. Krishna said, no, even me. Although there is no prescribed duty for me within this whole world, actually I am the lawmaker. I made all the laws. I am not bound to any of the prescribed work, but still I performed my prescribed duties. Because as a king now, as a prince, Krishna was doing all these duties. He would wake up early in the morning, do his sacrifices, do charity, and do all kind of prescribed duties, just to set a good example. Because if Krishna fails to engage in these prescribed duties, Krishna is telling that all men will leave all these religious activities, because they will think that Krishna is our idol. But even to teach them, Krishna performs all these activities. So Krishna is inspiring Arjun that, my dear friend, you should follow these activities. We'll do a small activity and then we'll end for today. Just a small activity. What you have to do, I'll make groups, I'll make 4 teams, and we will just give you 5 minutes, not more than that. Okay, so you have to be very, very quick. You have to write real life incidents. How you made some mistake and your followers, your children, your subordinates copied it. Or you did some very nice thing and they followed your example. Anyone, positive or negative. But you should say about your own personal example, that how you did some activity and that had an impact on your subordinates, your children, or if you are preaching to your devotees whom you are preaching and cultivating, like that. Okay, is the question clear? You can take screenshot of that. So we'll just have 5 minutes. I'm dividing the class in 4 rooms. And those who have switched off their videos, I hope they have not slept. They are awake. So please participate and share your realizations. We are going to divide. Okay. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yes.
Could you kindly share the screenshot again?
Yes.
Please.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, Prabhu.
So you can join your rooms. Your time starts now. Hare Krishna. Sorry, I forgot to inform that you can select a team leader who will be speaker. Hare Krishna. Sorry, I forgot to inform that you can select a speaker from each group who will be presenting the points on behalf of each team. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, welcome back. So let's hear from team 1. Who is the speaker from team 1?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandrat Pranam. Prabhuji, I hope I am the speaker, but I don't know whether my team was 1 or team was 2.
No, your team is 4.
Okay.
Team 1
Sure.
is the speaker.
I'm not also sure which one was.
You are in team 1, Namrasita Mataji.
Okay, yes, Prabhu. Then, yes, Prabhu. Some of the Matajis and one Prabhuji also shared their experience. Mostly, actually, we are grahasthas, we have kids, so we set example for our kids only. So, one of the Mataji, she was sharing that she was pregnant and she used to read Bhagavad Gita during her pregnancy. And after she gave birth to her beautiful child, the child was so well versed and so nicely she was able to learn the verses. She learned 40 verses. Rather, she is now teaching them how to pronounce those verses. So, and
was that Tanav? No.
Yes, yes.
Okay, no, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. And Prabhu, there's one Mataji, she was sharing that I have the habit of blaming. So even my kid got into this habit, and in turn he started blaming her. Mama, aapne aisa kiya, because of you this happened. So then she's saying that I can see mini myself in him. So And then this Prabhuji was sharing, Mataji and Prabhuji, that they have a 4-year child, and while cooking prasadam, that the child used to, every day he's accustomed to see this, that food is being cooked for Krishna. So the other day he was cooking, so maybe he was a little late or something. So he was shouting, "Mama, please cook fast. Krishna is feeling hungry." So,
Wow.
so this is one of my experiences only, that I have a bad habit of nail biting, which I'm still struggling at this age also. So because of my bad habit, even my kids got into this habit.
Okay.
And then this is again, this was something positive. I don't have the habit of lying. That is something which I completely resist, and I don't like if anybody lies to me. So I see that my children are also quite honest. I mean, they're very honest.
Yeah.
And there was one Madhadi, she was saying that my child reminded me. Yeah, she was saying that because they have left onion garlic, so they had to go to some picnic. So the child said, "Mama, आपने teacher को नहीं बताया कि I will not able to share my food because we don't eat onion garlic food, no." So he's just very small kid, I think 4-5-year-old. So
Very
he's
nice.
reminding.
We have many examples, but we will hear from others also.
Yes, yes.
Thank you so much, Namrasita Mata. We can see how much influence we have even on our level. So we can imagine on level of Arjun, on level of Krishna, how it is serious thing that they have to do their duties, and anyone, they are influencer. Nobody can say that they don't have any contribution in anyone's life. We all are influencers. Somebody is watching us. So if we don't do our duties properly, we tend to discourage them as well. Okay, team 2. Who is the speaker?
Hare Krishna. I think I'm from team 2.
Yes.
Prabhuji.
Please share the best 2 examples from your list.
Okay. So the best 2 examples that we had is one of the Prabhus spoke about he wasn't an example, but he followed somebody who worshipped the deity so beautifully, and it just drew him to deity worship. And he spoke about how his own devotional service improved by just watching and following another person's example. And he named a few of the people that inspired him. And then another very good example was where when there was the shloka test. So the Prabhu and Mataji were studying together, and they were talking to, pronouncing the words, and that was so nice because the pronunciation and the meaning became, more beautiful because they were working together. And I think that was an example. The bad example was when sometimes on weekend, we tend to sleep a bit late, and then the whole family decides, okay, fine, we're all going to sleep late and not do our chanting round, and then we have to finish late because we haven't chanted all our 16 rounds.
Yeah.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
All at an NCC. In India, NCC is very popular, but devotees have their own NCC, Night Chanters Club. So whole family becomes part of that club. So they influence each other, and they nicely chant in night, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock also. So sometimes we ask them, we are chanting yesterday's round or today's round? It's already next day. It's called NCC. Anyway, thank you, Mataji, for sharing wonderful examples. Okay, room 3, team 3. Yes, Mataji.
Yes, we talk about many examples, but I would say one or two. One example is for myself. When I cook, normally I put curtains in the kitchen. And when seeing my sister-in-law, whose kitchen is next door, she also started to do the same things. She also started to put curtain while cooking. And also, when she knows that we don't eat any fruit not offered, so when she has to give us some things to eat, she also offered the food to Krishna, then give us.
Very good. One bad example.
Bad example, if Prabhu give us that sometimes we take some non-devotees with us to go to the temple. When we are accompanied by somebody, more people. If we do obeisance correctly, properly, they will follow the principle. They will think they don't know, but they will think that this is the right thing. They will also start to do the right things.
Yeah.
Same.
There is a saying in English, not a very good saying, but still there is a saying. Jayadut Maharaj speaks it. He says if spiritual master urinates standing, the disciple will urinate running. So if you do a smaller mistake, the followers will do bigger mistake. So that kind of influence a leader has on the followers. Sorry for a bad example, but a very, very clear example. Yes, team 4. Thank you, Mataji, for sharing. Team 4, who is the speaker? I think Saurabh Prabhu.
Yes. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. So we have around 5 experiences that were shared by the team, and out of that, I will share one good example and the one the bad.
Yes.
So Anupma Mataji shared a very good example that when she left onion and garlic, her colleagues used to, probably ask him why you are leaving and give certain reasoning around it that you should not do. It is not desirable. But later on, that same colleagues are now making special dish for her if there's a party or over there, and then it is, without onion and garlic. So that is, and they are also, desiring to go the same way. So that is one example. Second, the bad example is from my side only. So it's anger management. So normally when I work in a sales, so sometimes I get angry over other people, my subordinates, and I see that my subordinates will do the same thing with their subordinates. So it kind of chain goes through. And later I realized that whole culture is getting problem. So I just stopped everything. So even I was just asking you the same question that if you are doing duty, but sometimes because as per Krishna you should not be you should not be angry. But if you are doing duty for Krishna also, and your Krishna is mind, but sometimes anger comes. So is it right or is it wrong? Because Arjuna is fighting without anger or with anger because
Arjuna
Krishna
was
is.
angry. Like, can you imagine fighting without anger? It's not possible.
But
Hanuman
then,
burning the Lanka. He's angry on Ravan. He burned whole Lanka.
yeah, but Krishna said that you don't have to, because anger means loss of intelligence in that case.
Yeah,
So how does we do?
that is when anger is directed towards material goal, material aim. But same anger utilized in Krishna consciousness, it's purified anger. Right.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry I drifted from the topic, but yes, there were the 2 examples.
Yeah. There is a saying, our spiritual master used to say this. There is saying that in ISKCON many a times, the junior most devotee does all service. You know why? Because senior will tell his junior, then he will tell his junior, then he will tell his junior, then he will tell his junior. Then the junior most one ends up doing the thing. So that happens that the juniors look up to the seniors, but if they're not ideal, then there is a problem. And therefore, Krishna is urging that Arjun, everybody is influencer. So yad acharati srishta. As you will do, others will follow. So if you give up your duty, nobody will do their duty. So you have to take your duty seriously and fight. Last question, Namrasita Mataji, then we conclude.
Prabhu, I have a question in verse number 3.3. There are few lines in it which I was not able to understand.
Yes.
It says that religion without philosophy is sentiment or sometimes fanatism, while philosophy without religion is mental speculation.
Yeah, this is a very famous statement of Srila Prabhupada.
Yes.
Please go ahead.
What I wanted to understand is that here the line just before that it is written, therefore both the yogas are interdependent. Both the yogas, it was mentioning Buddhi Yoga above. The Lord has explained also by working with the principle of Buddhi Yoga or Krishna consciousness, one can be relieved from the bonds of action. and furthermore, there is no flaw in the process. The same principle is more clearly explained in 61st verse, that is Buddhi Yoga.
You see, Jnana Yoga, mainly Jnana Yoga, as the word itself says, mainly deals with philosophy. As we discuss about Sankhya and others. Karma Yoga mainly deals with activity. So religion means practical application of dharma. That is religion. That's activity. And philosophy means the science behind it. Like why we worship Tulsi. Now worshipping Tulsi is an activity, it's religion. But why we do that? Okay, Krishna prayasi, very dear to Krishna. When you worship, that's the way, servant of the servant. This understanding is philosophical aspect. Both should go together. Religion without philosophy will just become a ritual, will just become a sentiment, will just become a fanatism. And if there is only philosophy and there is no activity, then it's just mental speculation. We are just in air. We're not doing anything. So both go hand in hand. That's what Prabhupada meant by that statement. Very, very famous statement of Srila Prabhupada.
Prabhu, I wanted to understand which two yogas Prabhupada is mentioning.
Jnana Yoga and Karma Yoga.
Okay.
Both should go together in bhakti.
Okay.
Like we should have our understanding of relationship with Krishna, and we should also be practically doing this service. Both are important. Like that.
So religion means other religions, Hindu, Muslim, Sikh?
No. Here religion means the practical activities of dharma. Okay. Like going to temple, doing arati, all these things, they come in religion. Right.
And Prabhu, one more thing, what was Panch Mahayagya? It was mentioned in 156 page.
There are Panch Yagyas. Actually, they are done by Grihasthas. Even Krishna did them. And these Panch Yagyas, like just 1 minute, I'll get it. One is, let me get it. I'm also forgetting. Okay. Yeah. The demigods, the yagyas for the demigods, yagyas for other living entities. These are like we are indebted to different aspects of nature. We are indebted to demigods, we are indebted to nature, we are indebted to other living entities. So there are different yagyas for it. I'll get the exact one in next class. I'm just missing it now. So I'll get
there is one blog by Giriraj Prabhu on that Panch Yagya. So I'll share the link. Yes, there is a full blog of them.
Yeah, you can share the link on the group.
Okay, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Okay, Hari Bol, Hare Krishna. See you next time. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Bhagavad Gita as it is ki jai. Hare Krishna.